Connected to the Century City Mall is Century City. And very tall buildings. I'm sure a lot of you have seen them. And it's one of the only areas in LA that has skyscrapers, you know, really impressive buildings. And as I'm standing in the mall with my son next to the Rosetta Stone, I'm looking into the buildings going, wow, like that's crazy. Like that would be crazy to work there, you know. And there's nothing I could do in those buildings. I don't have any skills. I probably couldn't get a job as a janitor in the buildings. I'm like, you know what? That's my job is here, taking care of my son all day. And kids have like an amazing ability to know exactly what you're going through at that moment, and then like eviscerate you with it, like stab you with that fact. Like I'm just sitting there, and my son just goes, he goes, "You're not working right now, Daddy? You're not working? 'Cause you got fired, Daddy? 'Cause you got fired? 'Cause the man didn't get you, Daddy? 'Cause the business is changing, Daddy? 'Cause Daddy has all the talent, but he can't harness it?" I wasn't ready to have kids at all. Like, my wife was great though. She's like, "Look, the good news about us having children is that you're gonna have a place to live." And I said, "That is." Put that in the plus column. For sure. I have two children. I have a boy and a girl, and I'll tell you the difference between boys and girls. When I had my boy, I wanted to leave. When I had my girl, I wanted to fake my own death. And that's the difference. Girls are special. She's daddy's girl. My life is such a mess since I had kids. So like, nobody gets it. Nobody understands. People have kids. They do their own thing. They're in their own war zone. And single people are the worst. I was out the other night. My friend was like, "Hey, you took off at like 9:30. What were you playing it cool?" I was like, "Oh yeah, I was playing it cool with my two irrational children and wife who's permanently lowered her expectations." Yeah. Yeah, I know. I'm sure when I left, everybody was like, "Hey, where'd that cool guy go with the 2 car seats in the back of his car, covered in mashed banana?" You guys remember that episode of you know that episode of Happy Days when the Fonz, right, the epitome of cool, has an infant's diarrhea on his hand all night, and he doesn't realize it because he's so cool. You remember in Gimme Shelter, that Rolling Stones documentary, when Mick Jagger gets yelled at for 45 minutes because he failed the drug test so his family can't get life insurance. You remember Miles Davis's Birth of Cool, that quintessential jazz album. There's just a track on there where he's quietly masturbating next to his wife while she sleeps. You guys, because that's how cool I am, Ben. So fuck you, Ben. My wife is like, I love my wife very much, but like, had kids, so like she got very paranoid when we had kids, and I understand, you know, I have the parenting skills of Tom Sizemore, so I get it, you know. She sounds like a character from South Park. Jason, you've done a lot of things right today, but let's focus on the thing you've done wrong. I'd like to set up a time when we can speak on this. Let me get my assistant, Kevin, on the line. Kevin, are you there? Everything's got to be perfect. I was dressing my kid the other night. She was like, "Did you just put him in black socks with blue pajamas?" I'm like, "He's going to sleep. Is there a doorman that won't let him into his dreams? Is Tim Gunn waiting there on a bearded dragon going, 'Make it work'?" She keeps a monitor by my head, a baby monitor. I gotta get this baby monitor by Jason's head to keep him getting nice and crackly all night long. So like, all you hear all night long is like, this is all you hear is like, Sounds like a ghost being beaten with its own chain. Sounds like a spooky weed whacker. Sounds like Frankenstein losing money on the Super Bowl. That's how I wake up every day. I hear that monitor. And then I hear my wife say, like, please, Jason, please, will you go get the baby? I'll do anything. Then you hear a 3-year-old Kim Jong-il in the other room, Daddy! Daddy, I poopy! Jason, now! Jason, now! It's like everybody's really desperate. It's an awful way to wake up. I'd rather like wake up to 3 terrorists on an airplane, you know. It's like a morning symphony. It's like this, you're asleep, and it's like, Daddy, please, you go get the baby. Daddy! And then it starts to build, like, please, Daddy! Please, Daddy! Then the dog starts eating his ass. 6 a.m. every day, the dog eats his ass. Doesn't eat his ass any other time during the day. I'm home all day. That's his time. That's his Matt Lauer. You don't bother the dog then. It's like dad and his paper, you know? And I would get up and help them, but I can't. But in my shorts, in my box shorts, like a raging boner, like a crazy, like, and I don't have a big penis or anything, but like, it's 2 things. One, it's like, when you're a dad, you've got like, I got like shrunken boxer shorts, because when you're a dad, you don't buy yourself anything new. You're like, I'm not a person. And then, but then also, like, you're so fat, like, you have fat dad thighs from eating everybody's fish sticks. Just like, no, I'm gonna throw them out, I'll get them. I'm gonna start working out tomorrow. Oh, what's that? Food solves every problem. I'm gonna go cry in the garage later. It's an old boner in my pants. I don't mean like I'm old. I mean like it's been around for a while because no one's tended to it, you know? It's like a mean old boner, you know? Society has turned its back on this boner, and he's walking the streets with a twitch, you know? Get away from me! Street boner, you know? Homeless boner standing around a barrel of fire in an alley warming his hands up. He's got a scarf on and a smelly cap, and you walk by, he's got one eye closed. He's like, what are you looking at? I want to like match her energy. Like I love my wife so much, but like there's so much pressure to be married. And I can't do it. Like she has stories. She'll say like, she'll come in, she'll be like, she's like, guess what about these shoes? They're amazing. They're Jimmy Choo shoes. I got them. They're normally $500. Guess how much I spent? Guess. And I feel like there's like a gangster there, like standing over me. I think, you fucking guess how much, motherfucker! Guess! You guess! You are. I don't know how much. I don't know how much shoes. You fucking guess! You are all she's got. You made a goddamn commitment. Fuck. I don't know. 200. How much were they, Bonnie? How much? What did he say? 200. No, I said they were Jimmy Choo. They were like $325. So I decide to like, so we have these kids like, oh, and I'm not working, so she goes to work, and like the least I can do is, you know, take care of the kids or whatever. And in the meantime, I do whatever I can. I take any job that I can, and really, really bad jobs, and that's fine. But the worst night I ever had was I hosted a Sweet 16 for these like this rich girl and these rich kids, and she was a sweet girl, and her mom saw me do stand-up. She's like, "Do you want to host this thing for $250, a Sweet 16?" I was like, "Yes, great, fuck yes, can't wait, done. Tell me where to be." And so the girl calls me, the 16-year-old calls me like a couple days later, and she's like, "Hey, I don't want you to do any jokes. I want you to roast all my friends, you know, and I'll tell you all this stuff." You know, she's like, "Have you ever seen the Comedy Central roast?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, I've seen that." Like, okay, and I'm like, "Oh, this is great." I'm like, "I'm gonna do great. Kids love me." Kids fucking love me. And if you've ever done like corporate comedy or anything, like it's so easy. Like you just find out stuff about people and then you spit it back to them. You know, so you'd be like, hey, that Dan in accounting really uses a lot of toner, huh? And then, you know, people are like, yeah, fucking Dan does do that! Oh, this guy's great! I love this guy! I'm not at work right now! So the first joke is about, the birthday girl's name is Shannon. The first joke is her best friend, Heather. And Heather's claim to fame was that she would chew pens in high school, and the pens would explode on her mouth. And she would get ink all over her face, and someone would be like, oh, Heather, you got fucking pen on, ink all over you, you know? And so I was like, oh, where's Heather? And she's like, oh, right there. And I'm like, hey, do you want my autograph? And she's like, no. And I'm like, no, let me give it to you. And I grab a pen and like I pull the cap off, and I'm like, oh my God, there's ink everywhere! Oh! You know, and they didn't laugh, just like you guys didn't laugh. But Heather is devastated. Devastated. Crying. Instantly. Like, I just told the school she had 3 abortions. Like, awful. Turns to the birthday girl and just goes, how could you do this to me? Runs off. 2 teenagers, 2 girls follow, like 2 valets, like, Heather, come back. So I'm like, but I'm too stupid. So I keep going, and I'm too stupid to realize what's going on. And what's going on is that teenagers cannot be roasted. I say it again, teenagers cannot be roasted because teenagers lack the ability to say, ha-ha, look at this flaw in my personality. Good thing I'm so comfortable with myself. Let's all have a good laugh at my expense. Can't do it. So I keep going and I'm doing the jokes and they're not laughing at all. So I'm getting meaner with the jokes. I'm like, fuck you, you're not gonna laugh at me. You know, so I'm just killing kids. You're a nerd. You got zits. You slept with everyone in the school. It's like Columbine. I'm murdering children. The last joke is about the captain of the football team, who was an all-state athlete, but his claim to fame was that he loved to wear pink polos and watch Gossip Girl. So I'm like, where's Brad, you know? And I said, hey, Brad, I heard you went over and watched Gossip Girl with all the girls the other night. Did you watch it in the closet? Now, if I had known what was gonna happen next, Brad grabs the mic. Brad is the gayest teenager. Like, he is so gay. And that wasn't the way it was sold to me. Like, he's so gay, and he doesn't even know that he's gay. You know what I mean? And the school is in some weird denial about how gay. Like, why is he picking on macho Brad? You know? Like I came from the future with Andy Dick, you know? It was like, listen, buddy, have a seat. In a couple of years, there's gonna be an incident on Santa Monica Boulevard. Strangely, I'm not gonna be there. So, normally when you have like a bad set, you just leave, you know? But I can't leave because I promised to cut the cake. So to get the $250, I have to stay till 11 to cut the cake. It's 7:15. So now I have to stay with like all these kids who hate me. I'm immediately accosted by like 3 Kardashian wannabes. And they come up there and they're like, they're talking about the girl with the pen. They're like, Heather is really upset about what you said about her. And we think you should apologize. And then I'm like a 16-year-old girl. I'm like, well, I'm not apologizing. And like, that was what I was paid to do. And like, Shannon paid me to come here and like roast you guys. So I'm not gonna apologize. And they're like, well, Heather's trying to get into Rutgers, and like she doesn't want bad stuff out there about her. And I was like, well, I'm like, I'm like, well, it's supposed to be like a Comedy Central roast, and I'm like a professional comedian. So, like, she should learn, you know, to get a thicker skin. They're like, well, we looked you up on IMDb, and you haven't been in anything. And I was like, I'm very selective at what I do, and Rutgers was my safety. So now I just go outside. Like, I just go outside. I'm just gonna stand outside and wait it out. I'll just wait outside until 11 to get my check. And then next to me is like this really overweight girl, like very, very overweight. And I have a lot of sympathy for overweight people. I was very overweight as a child. I'm working on it now. And like, so I have a lot of sympathy. And I'm just looking at this girl. I'm like, wow, like that's awful. Like, she's so ostracized. Like, she's out here. She has no friends. And then the girl just turns to me, and out of nowhere, she just goes, "Don't worry." Your stand-up wasn't that bad. And I was like, well, you know, I know, thank you. I'm like, you know, I needed the money for like my wife. I have 2 kids, you know, and she's like, what time you cutting the cake?